Sophie Alexander. I work for ITV News. We had anticipated there would be violence. We've been following the right-wing militia for some time. We knew that something would be happening that day. We'd spoken to our contacts in the right-wing militia. We knew that people were travelling from all over the United States for Trump's last speech and then for a protest. And we'd spoken to some people who said this isn't going to be a protest, this is going to be a fight. We knew it was coming, we knew we had to stay safe, and we knew ultimately we had to get the story.
So where were you, where was Robert, where was Mark as things began to unfold?
So as President Trump was giving his last speech, the three of us were together, and then Robert had to get back to the bureau to package for evening news. So Mark and I are filming crowd reaction to Trump. We did also notice something that I've not seen at Trump rallies before, which was more weapons than usual. I saw men with baseball bats tucked into their backpacks. I saw flags, the top of which had been fashioned into spears. And I thought, okay, this feels a little different. Usually we see handguns, we see arms, depending on where we are. That's not legal in DC. But it's the first time I've seen self-fashioned weapons. Trump finishes, Mark and I start slowly meandering towards the Capitol. And then we hear these loud booms, which later turned out to be tear gas fired by the police. And the air just changed. Something felt far more urgent. Something felt dangerous. And the air changed and we ran towards it. We didn't say anything to each other. We didn't even look at each other. We just knew something had happened and we started running. We jumped over a couple of walls. A lot of fencing had been trampled into the ground, so we just ran over it. And then we got to the inauguration stage, where in 2 weeks' time Joe Biden would be inaugurated. I managed to get through to Robert on the phone. He was running from the bureau to come and meet us. It was just very heightened, quite stressful, busy, hot, tear gas being fired at us every 5 minutes. I get a phone call from Robert. He says, "Where are you?" And then somehow I managed to pick him out in the crowd. And as soon as he walks towards us, the insurrectionists actually managed to break down the doors, and in they go. So Robert joined us, and up we went, over the Capitol roof terrace and into the building.
And that's what we've seen.
Yes, exactly. So you have seen fighting breaking out on the steps of the Capitol, which was just with Mark and I, and then moments later, it's where Robert does his piece to camera on the steps as people are charging past him, and then in we went inside.
Were you afraid at the time?
There was one moment outside and then one moment inside where I did feel scared. Outside, before Robert had got to us and before the doors were kicked down, there was this crush of people desperately trying to make their way to the front of the stage, and we were in the middle. But if there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to advance to in front of you, you just start crushing into each other. And Mark had his arms above his head with the camera above his head shooting, and I was holding on to him. And then at one point my face was just sort of squashed into his shoulder. Someone was behind me, someone was to the left of me, and I just thought, well, actually this is how people die, because it's a stampede, and unless they manage to break those doors down, there's no way back or forward. I spotted a little gap to the right, so I dragged me and Mark so I could at least catch my breath. And then when we were inside, these group of men encircled us, and they all had these sort of heavy wooden staffs with spears on the top, and they were demanding to know where we were from. And I sort of thought, this could get hairy. Okay, we are not wanted in here. We are not part of this. We're witnesses, we're reporters. This is a potential to get quite dangerous, but we talked our way out of it. And then the adrenaline keeps you going, and the focus of trying to get the story. It feels a little bit like a dream now. The couple of days after January 6th, I don't think I slept for 2-3 days. I was writing articles about it, I was doing interview requests, I was thinking about it, I was talking to friends, family, I was on Radio 4. And I'm a producer, I am very much used to being behind the scenes, not named, not on camera, and I quite like being that anonymous person. Then suddenly I was shoved into the spotlight alongside Robert. I didn't quite know what to make of it all, but I truthfully, I enjoyed it. It was nice getting that recognition, and it was just brilliant that ITV News got recognition around the world for the work that we had done. So there was a real high for a couple of days, and then there was a crash. And I felt quite depressed afterwards because I just thought, well, that's it. I've peaked. I'm 31 years old and I don't think I will ever cover a story bigger or better than this in my entire career. Do I become a librarian now? I don't know. But I think that's what we do. It's ups and downs. You never have a middling day at the office. You never have a middling day on breaking news. You're either exhilarated and on top of the world, covering the biggest stories, or you're not. That's been quite a useful tool for me to get my head around. Actually, it's fine. You can be busy. You can be not busy. You don't have to be working on the biggest breaking news stories all the time and you're still a valid journalist.